Hello there, and welcome to the National Film Club podcast. Joining me today is Alex Barker to discuss the Western Tombstone. Welcome, Alex.
Hello, Tim. How are you, sir?
Doing good.
Good.
And Tombstone is not actually a grave site, but a city.
No, but there are a lot of tombstones in this movie, so...
Yeah, because, a lot of people get killed. Yeah.
Yes, a lot. A lot. So, what kind of... Let me start over.
Yeah.
Had you heard about this movie before?
Yes, I had. I've only heard it's the best Western of all time kind of thing. I've heard that. That's about it.
I've heard that as well. I heard a lot of...
it was very hyped up.
Yes. A friend of mine once said that it was her, I think it was a she, actually. It was their either favorite movie of all time or favorite Western of all time.
Yeah, I've had the favorite movie of all time before.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. But it wasn't my favorite movie of all time, and I'm not sure if it was my favorite Western of all time.
I still think Back to the Future Part 3 is my favorite Western. No, I'm kidding.
That doesn't qualify.
Hey,
that
actually,
might, yes.
with the arguments of Westerns, mine actually is probably American Tail Father Goes West, because that Western is awesome. Anyway.
But, so during one of the trailers, during my movie marathon this weekend, saw a trailer for some Western comedy. And
Million Ways to Die in the West,
yeah,
probably, right?
It looks great.
Yeah.
And I love the reference to Back to the Future in that. That's pretty fantastic.
Well, if you keep an eye on things, there's going to be... I know, there's going to be Liam Neeson in it.
Which makes it an instant self.
Of course.
Liam Neeson is the best actor of all time, as we all know. he is my favorite.
He's definitely one that draws people. Case in point. So.
Yeah. Nonstop comes out to iTunes next week. I'm very excited.
All right. Well,
anyways, we were talking about Tombstone, aren't we?
Yeah, Tombstone. So it was made in 1993.
Year of Jurassic Park and Schindler's List.
Schindler's List, The Fugitive, a lot of good movies that year.
Yeah.
It was starring Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer, as well as Bill Paxton. Bill Paxton.
Bill.
A lot of...
It had a weird cast. There's a lot of people that you'd recognize.
Well, hold on. Let's go through this. Sam Elliott, Bill Paxton, Power Booth, Charlton Heston.
That one I didn't realize because
Stephen
I thought he
Lang.
wasn't. I thought he wasn't. I guess alive.
Yeah. Stephen Lang, Thomas Hayden Church. There was also a Billy Bob Thornton cameo.
Michael Rooker.
There were a lot of people in this one. Billy Zane is in it.
It just goes on. They just grabbed everybody.
Yeah. There's actually a guy named Wyatt Earp as well.
That's not the original Wyatt Earp. He'd be like 200 years old.
I don't know. I'd be really... Oh, and Terry O'Quinn is the mayor. He's the one... he's from Lost.
Yes. He's the crazy old guy from Lost.
Yeah. So a lot of familiar faces, which I think is really cool. Westerns too. I feel like this was one that everyone must have just been like, "Oh, this is amazing! I'm hopping on board," and then they just get person after person after person.
Yeah.
So that was cool. But let's.
Now, have you seen any other movies based around the Wyatt Earp story?
No, I have not. I never really heard about.
I thought it was just a wives' tale.
Yeah, no, apparently a lot of it's based on, well, at least those, I've thought about this, it may be based on truth, but it also may be based on who survived, which are the people that won.
Truth, the history is written by those that are alive.
Right, that is true.
That
is true. That we know of, at least.
At least the vantage point of history.
Right, exactly. But yeah, so let's get cracking in on it, huh?
Yeah, I gotta say the opening, so there is kind of like a history kind of text scroll thing at the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was basic.
Yeah. Well, no. It was basically it was just kind of setting up what the Cowboys were, what Tombstone was, what the days of the West were like.
Yeah, I love that the Cowboys were. I always thought the Cowboys were the heroes in all of history. But
apparently not.
This was an evil gang, kind of like New York Mafia, but in the Old West.
Well, what I found interesting about it was the fact that the Cowboys were essentially, like, the beginning, especially with the wedding, it felt like The Godfather.
It did. That opening scene was just brutal. It's like, you I'm gonna kill. I'm gonna go right over there and knock you out. Yeah.
Kill everybody.
Like, pretty much.
Yeah, that was.
It's
crazy.
Like how do you shoot someone on their wedding day? That's just uncalled for.
Yeah, it's pretty low.
That's not nice.
Well, you shoot the guy, you do with what you want with the woman, and then you shoot the priest point blank in the head.
Yeah, you shoot the priest. What's with that? He's just doing his job, Yeah. Well, that opening scene just made you hate the whole Cowboys. You wanted them.
Which, from a standpoint of storytelling, that's great.
That's great.
It makes you. It solidifies. Okay, these guys are bad, and you know whether or not. It has to come to a head at some point later on.
I feel like most westerns open with a scene of you hating X people. The other movie we watched that was a western recently did a similar thing, right? It was
not True Grit.
The Clint Eastwood.
Oh, Unforgiven?
Yeah, I feel like that opened with a scene similar to this.
Yeah, well, with the prostitutes and the guy cutting up the girl.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I feel this is a common, at least Western paradigm to do.
Yeah. Though I will say this one is, I think, far more fun in a sense.
Yes, it is. It is far more fun for sure.
Yeah. So we continue the story. So we set up with the Cowboys, and they're kind of just bad and ruthless and corrupt. And then it goes to...
Oh, before we move on...
Yeah.
To me, the mustaches in this movie felt unrealistic.
Well, here's the funny thing, is that if you actually looked up on Wyatt Earp, like pictures of Wyatt Earp, the original guy, his mustache is even bigger than what Kurt Russell had.
Now, I had a hard time telling, were these grown mustaches, or was this makeup department?
I'm sure most of them were makeup. I mean,
I know felt like it didn't feel like they were real mustaches.
I feel like Kurt Russell's was not. I feel like Virgil might have been.
Yeah, but pretty much every character in this movie had a big mustache. If you're a man.
Yeah, well,
that was something that actually detracted from me. Just like it didn't feel out of place, but it kind of did because it's like, really? Everyone else just has a huge mustache.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I can look past it, but
yeah, it's good. It's good.
Anyways,
though, I was telling my friend when I was watching it with him. I was kind of chuckling and thinking, it's kind of hard not to just look at their mustaches when they talk, rather than their eyes, because it's just so like.
It's so prevalent. Yeah. But yeah, I just thought I'd point that one out. It's not to make fun of it, just to say it's a thing.
Yeah, no. It is a thing. It is a thing. So that the bad stuff happens, and then the brothers, the Earp brothers, Wyatt. Let's see. Hold on. Wyatt, Virgil, and Morgan Earp. They all arrive in Tombstone, Arizona with their wives, and the intent is to begin a business there and seek their fortune and live a life of peace. And the key is that Wyatt Earp has been retired from the law and is no longer a U.S. Marshal, which is hard because he has the tendency to want to protect and want to, be just and have things be just.
Well, people are doing bad. You got to beat them down, to knock them back in place.
Yeah, like probably one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie is when he tells Billy Bob off when he
the opening scene where he gets the casino back up and running.
Yeah, and he throws out the guy.
Pretty great.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
I love within the first 5 minutes of arriving to town, he's already making 20% off the entire business or something else. That's just wonderful, I wish I had that power.
Yeah, well, he knows. I will say it was a situation where he knew what he was good at, and he tried to pursue in that venue. But at the same time, there was also another part of him that was more instinctual, what he was good at, which is, being a town lawman, and he had to resist.
Very much so. Yeah.
Also, during that point, it's like the course of just a day, and they just kind of go from like saloon to saloon to saloon.
Well, I can't imagine living in one of these towns. It's a big dust bowl with alcohol, casinos, and that's about it.
Yeah,
I guess the towns are small enough where you don't need a bunch of houses because I don't see a bunch of living places.
No. I mean, they were building apartments, their version of apartments and buildings and whatnot. Yeah, that is pretty. I mean, it is pretty amazing to think of those little cities in their inceptions. Where Los Angeles used to be tiny,
yeah,
and now it's a city of 12 million people in the county.
How they sustain those western places with food and stuff. I don't know. It's interesting,
I mean, I know for a fact. Well, not for a fact, but most of those towns back then would have to have a railroad line to go through it in order to, survive, essentially.
Right.
It's the lifeline to food and trade and goods and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure that was kind of part of it. But yeah, so they're making their way around the town, and then they meet, what's her face? The woman, what is her name? Her name, Josephine Marcus, is the actress.
No, she's the one that is the kind of tempter Wyatt Earp.
Right, the temptress for Wyatt.
Yeah.
I watching that movie and thinking about it, I did not really like the position that they put the women in that they really are just kind of, pawns.
Well, the wife was this unhappy kind of joyless holder backer of Wyatt Earp.
Right.
And then he had, what was her name?
The Josephine.
Josephine, that was, let's go, conquer the world and have joyful, have fun adventures,
Yeah.
with the room service and just go place to place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also during that time when they meet her, they also reunite with an old friend, Doc Holliday, who's played brilliantly by Val Kilmer.
Yep.
And he, in their time of reuniting, he tells them that I have tuberculosis. So he's kind of a dead man walking. At least back then, that was the case. So. There's that.
But it's very much a family ordeal with this this Wyatt Earp kind of group of people.
Yeah. It's very much the family's all together. They're going to go in business together. They're going to succeed together, and they're going to bring their fortune. And what's interesting is that they come to realize that essentially there is no law in the town, true law. It's the real law is the cowboys, and they're the ones that kind of run the show.
And they all wear red sashes in their pants or something.
No, it's red. It's red sashes like kerchiefs kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's cool. I like how
there's a really old sheriff that doesn't do much.
Well, yeah, he's a sheriff who people respect. And he also kind of knows better when to, okay, this is a fight to pick, this is a fight not to bring up, that kind of thing.
Back then, everyone had the gun, Everyone had their gun, and that's how it was.
Yeah, that's how it was.
Yeah. Lots of liquor, lots of shooting.
Yeah. The lifespan of people probably wasn't that good for those two reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, so things kind of get starting to turn sour when the sheriff is accidentally killed by one of the cowboys.
Yeah, This was the drunken incident, right?
Or he's high or something. He's on something. Um,
And the sheriff was like warned by the people, like, don't go out there, you're gonna get killed, pretty much.
right. Yeah. Yeah. So they have to deal with that because the Cowboys, they're gonna originally Virgil and Wyatt and Morgan are basically arrest the cowboy that killed the sheriff and say he's gonna go under trial, and the Cowboys won't have anything of it. They want him to go free.
And I mean, no one saw him get shot when the whole town was looking down. I don't get that at all.
Well, it's dark. It's kind of thing. Frankly, it looks like
Yeah.
the weapon discharged, like he accidentally shot him. It didn't look like it was a purposeful thing.
Well, when you're drunk, I don't think you do anything really on purpose. You just kind
Right.
of
You just
wander
kinda-
through it.
Yeah.
But
Which
I
is-
don't think that makes you unliable for what you do when you're drunk. I
Oh
mean,
no, I agree. I agree. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why that's why it's important to say call a cab if you're intoxicated,
Absolutely.
instead of driving home. So, but yeah, so that kind of stirs up a thing, and then the not Wyatt. But
Well, Wyatt, he originally was pressured into killing him right then and there, and then Wyatt, being the better man, said, no, he's going to stand trial. That's how it
Yep.
works.
Yeah. It's a very interesting concept of justice and a shift for him as a character, because when later on, when things start to turn sour, it's interesting to see his decisions on what is justice and what is not. But yeah, so let's see, continuing on. Oh, so his brother, because of the sheriff is dead, his brother takes the role of being sheriff. Not Morgan. What's his name? Virgil, his older
Yep.
brother. So Virgil, and then Morgan is basically his right hand man, and they both become the lawmen of the town. Whereas Wyatt still doesn't want to be a part of it.
At some point, doesn't one of his family members become kind of the lawmaker of that town, the sheriff?
That's what I'm referring to.
Yeah,
Virgil.
at some point, they're like officially a part of that.
Well, I think that's the point, is that they, so Virgil, because of the lack of authority, because the sheriff is dead, Virgil takes the mantle. And then I think once when they realize they're going to have to arrest all those guys, Wyatt swears himself in.
Oh, I
Like
see.
he's sworn in. Because he realizes if I don't do this now, then it's going to be, it's not gonna bode well if I accidentally shoot somebody and I'm not under the jurisdiction of being a marshal or a sheriff. So, but yeah, and then the shooting of the OK Corral happens when they're trying to arrest these guys.
So that's where... Is this at the point of the movie where there is the gun law, where you can't have guns yet?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah,
That's a huge thing.
Yeah, that happens first. Yeah,
That was huge, because like in the Old West, someone says you can't carry around your gun. Man, that is just ridiculous. That is outlandish.
you think people would people complain now?
Oh, I know. But, so there's a law, you could own a gun, just have to be in your house, pretty much, right?
Right. Well, you can't bring it into town, essentially. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just leave your guns at home.
yeah, which would be interesting. Can you imagine that today? Cell phone, keys, wallet, iPhone, gun,
Yeah. That'd be something else.
rifle.
But, so, this is sort of enforced, right? I mean, it seems like
It sort of works. Yeah,
they...
sort of works.
At the bar, and one of the guys, they dropped their gun off at the bar, and the bartender kept it. But wouldn't he have been breaking law just to bring it into the bar because he's in the town already?
I'm not sure. Maybe that's where you Maybe that's where you put your firearms.
Okay. And it seems stupid to give a gun back to a really drunk, angry guy, but that's just me.
Okay.
Yeah, seems like an accident waiting to happen, like the sheriff.
I agree. I agree.
But yeah, that scene where basically they're arresting them because they have firearms on them in the town, right? That's the reason they're being arrested.
And it's interesting because Wyatt basically says, "Let it go, give it up. Don't. It's not worth it." But Virgil had a very interesting reason. He's like, if we don't begin to instill justice now, no one will listen to us, kind of thing.
It's just a misdemeanor. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Which is interesting. I wonder if cops today do those kind of jurisdiction law-abiding things. They kind of lay the smackdown on somebody, so to speak. When it's not in actuality the law or the action itself that is a crime per se. It's just the fact that if they don't follow through with the law and make you abide by the law, then there's room for I don't have to do it when I don't feel like it, or that kind of thing.
Next time your taillight's out, remember that.
So they go to arrest the guys, and it doesn't turn out too well. And
not really, no.
No. And this is actually that shooting was based on actual historical fact, known as the shooting at the OK Corral.
That's a song too, the OK Corral, right?
Mm-hmm. I believe so.
Okay.
Excuse me.
So the guys that are arresting, you have Wyatt Earp, you get Bill Paxton's character, who is quite drunk at this point.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No, not Wyatt Earp. Huckleberry. Doc Holliday. He's quite drunk, yes.
Isn't Bill Paxton quite drunk as well?
Oh, I don't remember. I don't think so. I think he's pretty cool head, even keeled.
Okay. I might confuse the two.
Yeah, but Val Kilmer's character, poor guy, he just drank himself to death.
Yes, it did. So, did any of them go willingly and then a couple got angry and started shooting? Or was it just chaos from the start?
I don't remember. Something happened that, no pun intended, triggered the shooting. And I forget. Hold on. Let me take a look here.
And the crazy part is towards the end of that, gunshot stuff. The guy that says, I don't want to shoot, no trouble, he goes in the house, takes the rifle from the person that lives there and starts shooting out the window.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Well, think about the reason, because, if you're in a position of, you can't, he had no arms at that point.
He had no, upper hand there.
Yeah. When you have the upper hand, that's perspective to take advantage of it.
Yeah. And then the end of that scene, the, what's her name again? Sorry.
Josephine?
Josephine walks out and gives Wyatt this look, and then his wife comes and sees that look. It's like, oh, you're in trouble, mister. Pretty much. Yeah. I know what that look means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
get into the whole thing.
Yeah. So after that situation, what else happens? Oh, so one gets away. That guy who's like, "Don't shoot me!" He gets away, and he tells
that guy ends up shooting and injuring quite badly one of the folks, right?
Yeah.
That ends up leading to his death. Is that right?
No, that's the different. That's the different shooting.
Okay.
Yeah, that's later when Bill Paxton shot in the back.
Okay. But they are, said to please come with us. You're arrested for shooting and having guns in the town. But I didn't quite get that part of it because weren't they sworn in to be able to do that?
I believe so, yeah. I believe so.
So that didn't make sense to me.
The logic of certain movies don't make sense. Godzilla, there's definitely logic problem. But it's still fun.
You gotta, Godzilla defies logic.
That is true. That is true. A giant.
That's what radiation does.
Yes, it does defy logic. Radiation.
Right.
So there's no radiation in this one. However,
no, not that we know at least.
After the OK Corral shooting, there's a revenge committed in which Morgan dies. Morgan's shot in the back while playing billiards, which is true, actually, apparently. that actually happened.
Yep.
That's how Morgan Earp died. And I think they go after the women. I can't remember if they kill the wives or not. But yeah, they they definitely go at it in a not so good revenge tactic way. Which actually, if I remember correctly, doesn't that lead some of the cowboys to actually join up with the brothers? Isn't there a couple that say like that was wrong? They shouldn't have done that.
I think so. I might be mistaken, but I think so. Yeah. Which is really telling. I mean, in a big way.
Yeah. But like, and that's one thing I wish that they had gone back with is that character was the one during the wedding shooting that kind of had a look of conflict throughout the whole course of the first scene in the beginning of the movie. Mm-hmm. I wish I would have seen a little bit more of his character so that when he says that was wrong, I shouldn't have done it, like there would have been more at stake. I plainly forgot who he was until they showed up at the very end.
Right.
So I kind of wish that had been different, but that's all right. What else happens? Oh, what'd you think of that montage when the four Riders of Death just kind of Wyatt and his three?
Is this the extermination montage?
Yeah.
That was one of my favorites of the whole movie, where it's just like they're cleaning up shop, they're getting rid of all of them, they're just out for blood and just killing them.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Fantastic. It's awesome. The whole movie was leading up to this moment where they're just clearing all of them out. It's like this is
I think that was one of the strongest points of the movie, and I actually had personally an issue with how the pacing ended because like that was like the height of everything, and all of a sudden it kind of felt like a car stuttering. At least to me. I know a lot of people love it. And I
that was only halfway through the movie at about the hour 10 mark, right?
Yeah, there was still a lot left.
Yeah.
I know after the killing spree, I think Ringo, the crazy gunman, the one who's like super good. It's the one that when he has the duel in the bar with Val Kilmer, and Kilmer then does it with the silver cup. That was fantastic. You remember that?
I don't.
Okay, so remember, Ringo has the cool like with the gun, and he does all the cool like, oh look at me, and he puts it back in his holster, and then Doc Holliday takes his like drinking cup, and then does the same thing with the cup. Yeah. The entire time.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
That was a moment.
That was a very good moment. That was a very, very good moment. So, but yeah, so after the killing spree, Ringo basically says, all right, man to man, I'll challenge you man to man. And I think at that point, Doc Holliday's is kind of like on his last remnants. His lungs have kind of worn out because of the tuberculosis. So they, in their rampage of the cleanup of the cowboys, they actually go to find shelter, which is the home of Charlton Heston.
Well, which better place to go than the Planet of the Apes Discoverer?
Planet of the Apes Discoverer, Ben-Hur, Moses.
Why not?
Soylent Green.
Yeah.
So that was sorry, there's a bird outside. So he challenges him to a duel, and Kurt Russell's character knows he can't win, and Doc wishes him the best, and he's kind of stuck in sickbay.
Why can't he win?
I think he just knows he's not that good compared to Ringo, which is probably true. So, but Doc pretends to be really, really sick, and then actually, to my surprise, I didn't realize this. I remember when Doc wouldn't get up, and he's like, "I can't do it." I thought, no, something's not right. But then he later does the duel with Ringo, Doc and him, instead of Kurt Russell's character. He takes his place.
That's right. Yeah.
Remember that?
Yep.
Yeah. So,
now,
what'd you think?
At what point do they try to flee town?
When
Was that much later?
I don't remember because it might have been. Well, because I know that some of the cowboys, when they left town, no, it was after the murder of Morgan, the brother, that they left town. That Virgil and the rest of the wives left town, and then, right, and then Wyatt Earp and his posse, they left to clean out the rest of the cowboys. And then, because of that, the cowboys take over the town again and become lawmen themselves.
I see. Okay.
To my knowledge, at least, a lot of things happen. A lot of things with a lot of different characters. It's a pretty epic film when it comes to just the broad scheme of things.
It is, and getting the cowboys. There's just so many of them, and what are their individual roles and that kind of thing is something that can get lost unless you've viewed this movie many times, I feel.
Yeah, I think this is a film it reminds me of Apollo 13, where there's a lot of memorable lines in it, but it's a lot of memorable lines by a lot of different characters. So,
and the more you watch it, the more you'll appreciate it.
Right, exactly. Like the Huckleberry line, which I put down right there.
Yeah.
But yeah. So it completes with Doc winning and defeating Ringo, the last of the cowboys, and then I guess Wyatt is kind of free to go about his business to find the gal. Doc succumbs to his tuberculosis eventually, and then Wyatt is free to go about and take that acting woman Josephine Marcus as his own. Give her a big kiss with that bristly mustache.
Yeah. I mean, it's... Yeah. Any other plot things to mention? I mean...
I know that, I don't... the ending, like the last part when they do that kind of a little bit out of place voiceover, at least at the end.
Yeah.
Less so out of place in that I know it's bookmarking from the beginning when they do voiceover, but like what they say, I thought was a little bit ham-fisted in a sense.
Yeah, to me it just kind of ended like it.
Yeah, I did not think it ended well. Like the last 2 minutes, I thought was kind of like I kind of wished that they had ended with, say, Doc Holliday's funeral or something like that, or something a little. I don't know. I felt as though it could have ended better. Though, you know what I did hear is that in the movie, you know who actually directed the film? It wasn't the director that's listed. It was actually Kurt Russell and Val Kilmer. And
really?
A friend of mine was telling me this. In the process of them making the film, they basically would rewrite scenes the day before that they would shoot it. And apparently they had the director was kind of off to the side. And they basically convinced I forget who the distributor was, but they basically convinced them to hire this director so he wouldn't, be in the midst of things and meddling with what they were doing, and then then they would just do their thing. Pretty amazing stuff.
Today, actors can be the director as well. That's seen.
Oh yeah, that's not uncommon. That's not uncommon. But two main actors being the directors in a film—that's probably less frequent.
You don't have very many two-director films. You have a couple that, Matrix.
Yeah, if it's normally two, it's normally brothers or an animated.
There was
film.
one recently I saw that was two. I feel like it was one of the blockbusters I watched on the weekends.
Might have been.
Yeah,
I do know. Sure. I do know for a fact that animated films tend to have multiple directors. Like Prince of Egypt had 3 directors, for instance.
Well, I could see that for sure because you have the vision of Would you want one person to have vision over the voice and sound versus the
Yeah,
animation.
I think it depends. I know two animated films tend to have a longer production time, so I think the sheer weight and pressure of those choices, I think it's helpful to spread it out a little bit. Especially, I think there's so much detail involved with animation because you have to build everything from scratch. Nothing is given to you. Like everything
Yeah.
you have to make. The sound, the backgrounds, the trees, the leaves, everything, dirt, the whole thing. It must make live action seem like a breeze.
Well, I mean, it's very simple live action. You just get some props and actors, and you're good to go.
Yeah. So, but yeah, check out Tombstone for those of you who are listening. If obviously if you have any
I think it's fair to say we both really enjoyed the movie, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's one of those that I'd enjoy more the second time and third time and fourth time probably.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that check it out for yourselves. If you guys have any questions, I mean, feel free to ask now. I'll ask later about the film and the experience. I definitely would say it's a fun movie. I think it's a fun movie to watch in a group. Like
Yeah, I'd say it gives it all the quotable stuff
Yeah.
and just the
it's very quotable. It's a western that has a very snappy feel to it. And again, Val Kilmer, I think he was the best part of the film.
it's fun just thinking about they portray this western town so well. It's fun to think, what the heck would it be like to live back in this kind of town? That would be so weird.
I wouldn't like it at all.
No, I
Like it
wouldn't
at all. At the very least, you and I couldn't be doing this right now.
Could not. No.
Could not.
Let's see. And there were horses in this movie. There was I like the ride at the when Josephine and them were riding down, and he thought it was the end of the line kind of thing, and they kept it going.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, there's some good moments for sure.
Yeah, there are. There are. The music's really good too. It sounded like
yes.
is that Jerry Goldsmith? I couldn't tell. Let me
There was some great music, especially that montage scene. It was like, crank it up. It's pretty great.
Bruce Broughton.
Huh.
I've never heard of the guy. He's
What
been
else has he
nominated for
done?
two. Well, let's see. All filmography, soundtrack.
I've heard of him, yeah.
Well, he did Alone Yet Not Alone.
Tiny Toons Adventures.
He. Huh. Interesting. Harry and the Hendersons. So it seems like this was one
Young
of his
Sherlock
bigger ones.
Holmes, yeah. I've heard his name before, but he really hasn't done a whole lot of... He's done a lot, just really random.
Wow.
180 credits to his name.
Oh, this is crazy. I did not know this. Bruce Broughton was the guy. He was the person that the Academy listed as the reason why they renounced rescinded their nomination for Alone Yet Not Alone, the best achievement in music. Wow. Wow, I forgot about that little controversy that happened. Huh.
Yeah. But the music is fantastic. This is,
Yeah.
I'd say, probably his best score he's ever done, probably. It's his
Yeah.
most epic one. He did Miracle on 34th Street, the 94 edition.
Not a bad movie. It was better than
No.
I thought it was going to be.
So, Tombstone. I think, very good Western, and I will see it again for sure.
Yeah, definitely worth to check it out.
Any final words on this, or is that...
Well, that's it. Other than keep an eye out for when Tim and I do our next one, which should be...
next time, Godzilla, the 2014 edition, not the 1990... Is it 94? What was the original?
98 with the Matt Broderick one.
Yeah.
That
And
was-
if you watch, I think it might be I don't know if we'll want to bring up the 98 one at all, if only to compare it to how not to do a Godzilla movie when watching this one, and how right it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they did a
'Cause,
good
yeah,
job.
the 98 one was like half a monster movie, half Godzilla. Didn't really understand what Godzilla was. And this one, the creators really did appreciate and understand and pay homage to what
Yep.
Godzilla actually is. So.
Yeah, you could tell that they actually cared.
Yeah, they had some respect for the source material.
Yep. Whereas the '98 one kind of looks like a iguana on steroids.
Yeah, yeah. And they understood true Godzilla movies really isn't about Godzilla being the bad guy, but helping you get rid of the other monsters that you don't want around.
Right.
That's
Or just a force of nature. I mean, he's literally a bull in a china shop. He just, walks
Yeah.
around and knocks things over.
But yeah, so I saw it over the weekend as part of my marathon weekend.
Very
And
good.
I loved it.
Yeah.
That parachute scene, oh my gosh.
Yeah. That'll be a top scene clip on YouTube, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Next- by the
Oh
end of the year.
boy. Yeah, so we'll dive into that more next time. Godzilla.
Yep. Yep.
Go and watch it. It already hit 100 million in the box office. So if you haven't seen it, who are you? You're not one of those $100 million folks. So become one of go out and see it. It's good.
It's cool.
Anyways, Alex Barker, where can folks find you on their webs?
People can find me here, unless it still says Huckleberry. I don't think it says Huckleberry anymore.
It does not.
Okay, Milliner, Milliner Ent. That is my Instagram. I think.
Excellent.
So, check it out.
Very cool. And you can find myself at username TCHATEN, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, where you can watch video versions of these podcasts if you're just listening to it.
Yep.
And until next time, just go watch Godzilla, 2014 one. And if you're so inclined, go watch the 29 other movies in the franchise.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a monstrous amount.
It is, and it's not available as a complete collection anywhere for sale. Naturally, right? So,
That would be very expensive.
well, it shouldn't be. I mean, anyways, we'll talk to you guys next time.
All right.
Bye bye.
Peace.